Hey everybody, so I'm really excited to share this with you because Dad and I just got back to Nashville from not one of the best, but the best fly fishing experiences I've ever had in my life. It was unbelievable. We were lucky enough to fish the world famous San Juan tailwater fishery for a solid 12 days. Not only is that good enough, but we were able to fish it 2 weeks after they opened up after being closed for roughly 3 months due to COVID. So we were very fortunate to be able to fish these fish that have kind of went back to a wild state. Now the Navajo Dam was built in 1962 and it's roughly 400 feet high, and the water that comes out of there is between 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit year round, especially in the upper part, which creates an amazing trout fishery. And the beautiful thing is it's an amazing world famous midge fishery, which I love. The first 3.5 to 4 miles is called the quality waters, and it is catch and release only, single hook, barbless, which is great. And because of that protection, the fish grow to enormous size. I mean, we're talking average of 18 inches upwards to 24 to 26 inches are pretty common. So it's absolutely phenomenal when I say ridiculously good. So the crazy part is, for these 12 days, Dad and I really focused on, well, we did both. We did some wading and we did some floating. So we did bring our drift boat, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But we really focused on wading above the Texas hole to the cable hole, which is pretty much just below the dam.
You say the fish are being a little tricky this morning?
They're being tricky. They're not cooperating. What's up with that? I mean, we've made 10 or 12 casts, no fish. I mean, come on. What gives? I'll say, if you're coming to the San Juan, you better bring some small stuff and magnifying glasses, which these clicks work amazingly well. I love them to death. So bring your small stuff. Let's go see if these Tennessee boys can catch a New Mexico trout. Did you see that? If you didn't see it. Huge trout. Take my indicator. I said, don't get suckered and putting a dry fly on. That's a good fish.
What'd you catch them on?
I don't know yet. They are strong. And if you don't land these fish within the first 30 seconds, they take off, like this guy that ran me all the way up this run, wrapped me around the rock, had to get him off and all the way back down. Try to get him in quick. He took the bottom midge, size 26, little black midge. Not a bad little rainbow to start the day.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. Little San Juan rainbow. Pretty average.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can even see this, but it's a size little 26, little black midge with a little flash on it, and the other one had a little flash wing, but there's not much midge activity, so they're not really kind of coming to the surface, and so I took the flash wing off, went a little smaller black size 26, and we'll see how that. And by the way, I'm dropping it off of this red annelid pattern, which has been very, very good so far. Ooh. Good fish. Nice rainbow. He is heavy. I'm gonna try to get him in the shallow here if I can. Come on, baby. Woo. That's a gorgeous fish. Long. Nice fish.
Yeah.
He's, let's see, 16, 17, probably 18, maybe 19. Thank you, buddy.
Well, when you hear Jonas refer to Dad on the San Juan video, I'm the dad. And you know, this was Jonas's second trip. It was my first trip, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be the last trip. I caught the biggest rainbow of my life while we were awaiting the upper region of the San Juan. And the fishing in the Texas hole is just unbelievable. The huge midge hatches, abundant insect life results in these fish grow huge, and they are strong. I caught the biggest brown of my life at the Texas hole.
We really didn't explore much wading below the Texas hole. Like I said, we floated it, but there's another 2.5 miles of wadable access areas beneath the Texas hole, all the way down to Crusher. And then Dad and I were lucky enough to float one day from Texas all the way down to Rainbow Lodge. We put in at the Texas hole. Black flies are getting in my nose. And you can expect a pretty moderate flow. There's no real dangerous rapids. There might be some rock fields you may have to maneuver around, but there's nothing really dangerous to get into. And the scenery, by the way, is amazing. You gotta remember, you're in this high desert. Elevation's roughly 6,000 feet elevation in the desert. And this amazing river is going through it. So some of the scenery and the wildlife, just out of this world. It's just an experience that you really need to do if you get a chance. We ran into a couple hatches that were going on through the day that let us fish a little bit bigger fly on the surface. Is we were able to fish a size, probably a 16 or a 14 maybe. It's called a dead chicken. It's pretty much just an oversized Griffith gnat, and it imitates a huge ball of midges together that are basically mating. And these fish were coming up to them, and let me tell you what, it absolutely made my trip, because we were able to fish this for a good part of the day and catch these huge 20, 22, 24 inch fish on dry flies. So it doesn't get any much better than that. Filming?
Yeah.
So cool. We were fishing the upper section and we were able to catch these monster fish on big dry terrestrials. The ants were great, by the way. The ants were huge that were coming into the river. The fish were eating them up like crazy, and it was unbelievable to fish this type of dry fly action on a tailwater with this size of fish.
That's a pretty good. Is that a brown? Is that a rainbow?
A lot of people use 5X, which is great. I usually start with 5.5. I had to go to 6.5 and to 7X when I'm dry fly fishing, because some of these fish were coming up and just nosing the dry fly until I went down to 6.5X tippet, and then they would take it. Not a bad little rainbow. It's interesting, we were floating today from Texas Hole down to Rainbow Lodge, and normally everybody takes out here at Crusher Hole. And the fishing's been so-so today. Got some good fish, but kind of on the slow side. And we went around the corner, we passed Crusher Hole, and in this run where there's nobody, it's a fish every cast. We're switching around a little bit. Going back to some midges, and This is my first fly, the point fly. It's a little cream midge. Don't know if you can see it there. It's got a little red head on it. It's a purty little sucker. I've got 6X tippet running from my tippet ring. I got 6.5X tippet running from first fly down to the second fly, which is going to be this little baby. It's just a red annelid, about a size 22. Now, something, Dad and I did obviously is we really concentrated on wading above the Texas hole. But several afternoons, we came to the Texas hole and put our drift boat in. And we simply floated for hours around in a circle in the Texas hole. And I'll tell you this, if you think you're gonna have the Texas hole to yourself, well, think again, because it's named the Texas hole for a reason. It's big and it's famous. The fishing is unbelievable. You can spend hours fishing this just by yourself in the boat. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend it. It was kind of still on the small side for the San Juan, but not too bad.
Yeah, nice fish. Nice color.
A little windy today. Hey, hey, hey. Took the red, the annelid.
Huh.